And then at what point did you think, oh, I need investor to come and help me?
Probably day one. I knew that, obviously I'm quite ambitious. I knew that the rate I wanted to grow, I knew I wouldn't be to do it with my own funds. And I knew there was people out there who weren't getting a very good return on their money. And I knew that I could help them with a problem they have, and that would give me an opportunity for my own investment.
係啦，歡迎大家嚟到我個 channel 啦。咁咧今日咧就邀請咗一位即係投資嘅達人啊，其實係猛人嚟嘅。咁啊上嚟咧就講關於即係英國投資嘅一啲嘅歷程啦。咁其實佢咧就係喺36個月裏邊咧買咗34層樓嘅，係啦。咁佢點樣做咧？咁我就問佢呢樣嘢啦。嗱，講講佢個背景先。咁佢咧之前咧就係喺個拍賣行嗰度咧做個 valuer 嘅。咁依家亦都開咗自己嘅estate agency 啦。咁佢亦都係上過呢個雜誌啦，同埋呢個電視有一個好出名嘅電視節目咧，叫做 Homes Under the Hammer 嘅，係啦。咁啊，亦都係即係一個好多嘅 Pin Network 嘅講者啦嚇。Hello Tony, nice to meet you.
Hello Jacky.
Hi. So I think a lot of people are really interested. How can you buy so many properties in such a short period of time? I heard it was 34 properties in 36 months.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, so can you tell us more? How did you manage to do that?
So I think the main things for recommendations would be to learn the buy, refurb, refinance strategy, understand buy-to-lets, HMOs, but also raising private finance has been helpful as well. So it's kind of a combination of all of those that allowed us to do it.
So at the beginning, did you buy rundown properties and then spending the money to refurb and then refinancing the deal?
Yes, that was basically it. With my background in auctions, I was looking for motivated sellers, people who had rundown properties or people who had a problem property, and I was trying to solve that problem, and that's how I was increasing the value, which allowed me to refinance and hopefully pull a lot of my original capital back out to invest into the next project.
I see. So you can only go so far with your own cash, right?
Yes.
And then at what point did you think, oh, I need investor to come and help me?
Probably day one. I knew that, obviously I'm quite ambitious. I knew that the rate I wanted to grow, I knew I wouldn't be to do it with my own funds. And I knew there was people out there who weren't getting a very good return on their money. And I knew that I could help them with a problem they have, and that would give me an opportunity for my own investment.
I see. So in terms of private finance, I think a lot of people don't understand or how it works. So do people partner with you to buy a property together, or they lend you the money?
So it's a little bit of both, but mainly we borrow money from people who maybe have some savings. They don't want to invest in property themselves because if they want their money out, then they'd have to sell the property, and that comes with time and money constraints. So it's mainly helping people who don't want to invest in property get better returns on their money because they know houses are a safe investment, whereas things like stocks and shares have been volatile in recent years, and a lot of people don't understand things like cryptocurrency.
So why would you borrow from an individual and not borrow it from the bank?
I think there's just a lot more flexibility with a private individual. With banks now, you have to jump through so many hoops just to get the finance. You have to provide all of your documentation. There's long drawn out legal work typically involved. So one of the reasons is probably speed. But you can also borrow money sometimes at better rates than what the bank will borrow it out at as well. So a little bit of both.
So if I'm an investor, I've got some cash, and then I would like to offer this as private finance to you, okay? Well, clearly, I'll be thinking what kind of a rate I'll be getting from you, and what kind of security would I get from lending you this sum.
So the rate really varies based on how long people are prepared to invest the money with us. Because if they're only prepared to leave it for 6 months with us, we can only do one deal in that time. Whereas if they're prepared to leave it for say 2 or 3 years, and it's for an upcoming retirement for them, then we can afford to pay better rates because we can get in and out of more deals. So that's where the rate sides come in, and you're looking typically anywhere from kind of 5%, up to 10, 11, 12%. very deal specific. But in terms of the security side, we always offer, personal guarantees.
Right.
So if there's any problems with the deal, then, it falls back onto my own portfolio, my business, my own house. So, everything is on the line for me personally. So the investor knows that we're basically investing in deals that we have a very high confidence rate in, because ultimately we'll suffer financially if the deal goes wrong. So, and we also use a loan document. A lot of investors will get that checked independently by their own solicitor or legal team, just to make sure everything's above board.
And then do I get like a bank a first charge to the property?
So it all depends, again, depending on the amount of money borrowed. If it's quite a substantial investment, then it may be that we'll buy a property outright cash, and then yes, we would definitely offer first charge in that instance.
I see.
But if it's going to be split across multiple projects, then the banks are going to want first charge for the bridging finance and things. So that's when you would have the personal guarantee instead of the first charge.
I see. So on this deal, for obviously if I'm lending money out, I'll be wanting to get an interest. Would that be monthly, bi-yearly or yearly, or even rolled up at the end?
So it all depends on the investors. We've got some people who are retired that just want their savings to go to work, and they like it to be paid monthly. We have others who'd like it rolled up at the end because they don't want to spend the interest they're making. So again, it's flexible. It all depends. From our side, our preference is we like to pay quarterly.
Right.
So we're always meeting with interest. It's a good period of time between each interest payment, and it tends to be substantial enough amount of money in the interest payment to make a difference to someone's life.
I see. So obviously doing lending money out is like a debt investor, and upon the 34 properties that you've bought, have you always used debt as the first choice? Have you gone into business or been partnership with other investors too?
Yeah, so I've got a couple of joint venture partners. I've got 2 or 3 portfolios of my own. They both have JV partners on there. It might be that they brought some money to the deal, but a good joint venture, the ones we do, it's time, money and experience. So for example, I had the time and the experience, but I was lacking the money. But one of the investors had the money and they actually wanted to build some assets, but they didn't have the experience or the education to do it themselves. So we kind of got to bounce off each other. They got to use my strengths, I got to use them, and it's been a good partnership.
I see. So in terms of these 34 properties and future investments, where have you invested and where do you see future investments going in for yourself?
So I think property, you have to adapt your strategy based on the market conditions and what the forecasts are for areas and things along those lines. So for me, because I find buy, refurb, refinance is very difficult to do now, especially now the interest rates are a bit higher here in the UK, then what I'm looking for is how can we also, write the prices up without doing any work or minimising the work, because again, the material costs are really increasing at the moment with inflation. So I'm trying to invest where I get a little bit of value straight away on what I purchase, so a little bit below market value, or maybe there is a light refurb needed. But the main strategy that I'm investing is I'm investing in areas of regeneration. You see some areas that are really nasty run down, but you go back 4 or 5 years later and they're really thriving new areas. So for me, in the northeast, I'm investing around a hospital development where the university have just bought a campus, because I know that area is going to become a student area over the next couple of years, and it's going to be good for serviced accommodation while there's builders and things on site. But we're also looking up in Northumberland at places like Blythe and North Shields because of things like the Giga plant. So we're trying to invest our money around where we know this really substantial amounts of money. Like the building in Blythe is going to cost almost £4 billion.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So if you can invest around projects like that, there's going to be some areas looking at the forecast, they're saying the northeast prices are going to go up by, I think something like 11.6%. But that means within that there's going to be some areas that go up by 5%, there's going to be some areas that go up by 25%. And we're hoping to invest in the areas that are going up by 25%.
So in fact your strategy is trying to stay ahead of the investment, not the established area, but the developing areas.
Yes, I think that's the thing. You get a lot of people invest in areas because it's what they know, it's where they live, but that's not really investing in the opportunity. And the opportunity is the amount of money the government and private firms are investing in these areas. It's a lot of investment, so we want to be involved in that, even if it is on a smaller scale.
Okay, right. I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much, Tony, for the interview. 係啦，如果中意呢個內容嘅話咧，下邊俾個 like 啦，係啦，之後咧就 subscribe 呢個 channel， 同埋咧去個 Facebook page。好，今日講到呢度先，下次再見。嚟緊我有個英國房地產嘅免費分享會嘅，會公開我喺英國買樓嘅一啲嘅知識同埋技巧嘅，大家千祈唔好錯過啦。報名嘅連結咧亦都放咗喺下邊，到時見你。